Hey, algebra. Today we are doing 6.6, which is systems of linear inequalities. Last lesson in 6.5, we did just linear inequalities, graphing them. This time we're doing systems of linear inequalities. Okay, so that means we've got two different lines, I guess. So two different functions, really. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. Okay, just as a reminder, a solution is something that makes the linear inequalities true. Whenever we have a system of linear inequalities, the solution has to make both of the inequalities true. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get into problem 1 with that in mind. All right, so it says, what is the graph of the system? Okay, we have y is, and actually I'm going to write in black for now. We'll get the colors out later, don't worry. So y is less than 2x minus 3, and then we have 2x plus y is greater than 2. Okay, so I'm going to put them in slope-intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to start by subtracting 2x from both sides on this equation. That'll cancel there. Now we have y is greater than negative 2x plus 2. Okay, now they're both, if they were equal signs, in slope-intercept form. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my graph. Whoops, missed a spot there. All right, so here we have our graph. Okay, and I'm actually going to take a second to improve this just a little bit. All right, so there's our graph. It's all set up to go ahead and graph these points. So I'm going to do this one first. We've got our y-intercept is negative 3, which is right here. And then we have 2x, so our slope is 2, so our rise over run should be 2, which puts us there, there, and there. We'll just call that good with the 4 points. Okay, I'm going to draw my line through them. All right, that's good enough. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and graph this line as well. So now we have positive 2 for our y-intercept. Okay, and then our slope is negative 2. So we're going, our rise is negative 2, and then over 1, negative 2 over 1, negative 2 over 1. Okay, draw my line through those. Okay, so there is our lines for the graph. Okay, now I want to check for both points the same way we did with just one line. We're going to check a certain point, and again I'm going to pick the origin to see if that point fits into or makes the graph true. Okay, so I'm going to put 0, 0 into that equation or inequality. So we have 0 is less than 2 times 0 minus 3. So 0 is less than negative 3. This is false. Okay, so for this one, which was, I should have labeled these, that was this one. Okay, the first graph that I did. The origin is not part of it, so I'm going to go ahead and shade for this equation the opposite side of where the origin was. Okay, so that would be right over here. Okay, so all of this is going to be shaded yellow. Okay, and then I'm going to check my other equation. All right, so I'm going to go back to the gray. And again, I'm going to check the origin. All right, for this one, we have y, which is now 0, is less than negative 2 times x, which is now 0, plus 2. So we're left with 0 is greater than 2. Again, that is false. So again, I'm going to shade the part that doesn't fall into doesn't have the origin, since it was false. Okay, so I'm going to shade up here. All right. Okay, so now we have those two parts of our graph. Okay, and the only points, now we're looking for the points that are going to make both of those inequalities true. Okay, the only place that can happen is where the shading happened for both inequalities. Okay, so that means I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to extra shade, we can call it, the parts where that overlaps. Okay, so that'll be right in here. All right. So that portion of our graph is the part that's true. You don't have to erase the other portions that you had already shaded, but for me, it's easy using this because I just erase it once and it all goes away. So there's that portion gone. And then, okay, well, I had to shade a little bit more on this one, but there we go. So that's our graph for this one. And again, you don't have to shade or erase. Just make sure that it's clear which part is your the part that's actually part of the solution for the entire system of inequalities. Okay, so probably just make that area darker. Okay, so that is the graph for that example. All right, I want you to go ahead and try out Got It problem 1 on your own, and then after that we'll go ahead and move on again. So we're going to go ahead and go into problem 2. Just real quickly, before we do though, I just wanted to remind you, make sure you have a dotted line when it's just less than or greater than. I forgot to do that on that last graph, so it's really easy to forget, so be careful on that. And then obviously solid line when it can also be equal to, like one of these. Okay. So yeah, now we'll go ahead and move on. So problem 2 is looking at the graph, and it's asking us to figure out where or what system of inequalities is represented. Okay. So really all we need to do from that is go ahead and write our two equations from the graph. So we're going to have 1, and then that yellow you can't really see very well, so we'll go blue. Yeah, so we have 1 and 2. All right, our first equation, we can look at this one for our y-intercept. So that gives us 2, 4, 5 is our y-intercept. So we have y equals something x plus 5, and then it looks like the slope would be negative 1/2. All right, so that's our equation for the first portion of the graph, I guess. And then the second equation would be the slope looks to be 1. So I'm just going to leave it as y equals x, and then our y-intercept down here is -1. So y equals x minus 1. Okay, from here, now I'm going to go ahead and change it to an inequality based on what I'm seeing. All right, so for this line, okay, it looks like this portion is the shaded portion. Okay, so that is going to be where it should be greater. Okay, and the reason for that is we have the points above that line. Okay, so now we're switching it to y is greater than x minus 1, and we also see that the line is a solid line once I erase that, which means that it is also equal to. Okay, so that's our equation for the second line that we had there. All right, and then for the first line that we drew, it's the same thing. So we have y, and then it looks like it's shaded the part that is underneath it. Since it goes down, that's going to be less than. Okay, So we have y is less than negative 1/2 x plus 5. Okay, in this one, we have a dotted line, so it is not equal to. All right, so our system of equations for this one is just going to be these two equations. Okay, and that should be it for that one. All right, go ahead and try out got it problem 2a. All right, and then we will go ahead and move on one last time. And actually, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it there for this video. So that's going to be it. Hopefully you took good notes. Let me know if you have any questions. And then I will see you guys in class, and we'll go over all of this then. All right, so see you guys there.